Mary Jo's father didn't just disown her. He erased her. By 9 that morning, she didn't exist. No bank account. No home. No name. She thought her life was over. But then a black car pulled up beside her. And the man inside said something that didn't make sense. "You're 3 minutes late." That's when she realized. This wasn't a mistake. It was planned. Mary Jo stood on the sidewalk. Her father didn't just kick her out. He held a public press conference. At 8 in the morning, he spoke. He called his daughter a thief. By 9, she didn't exist. Legally, she was gone. No bank. No name. No way back. The family's big gate slammed shut. She stood in the pouring rain. She had nothing but a laptop. Her mother wasn't there. Her brother Simon laughed from above. He sipped coffee and slowly waved. She was a ghost now. Then, a black SUV pulled up. The window rolled down with a hiss. A man sat behind the wheel, watching her. This was the powerful Peter Moon. He didn't offer a warm coat. He held out a glowing tablet. Her name was already there, at the top of the list. "You're 3 minutes late," he said. His voice sounded like shifting ice. She stared into the dark interior. "I don't know you," she whispered. Peter Moon did not even smile. "I've been watching you for 2 years. Waiting for this exact moment. The exact minute you walked out of that gate." She felt her heart stop. The rain felt colder than before. "You let this happen?" she asked. Peter tapped a file on the screen. "I didn't just let it happen. I leaked the secret debt." The rain suddenly felt louder. He made them betray her. He needed her to have nothing left. "They think you are a liability. I think you are a deadly weapon." She looked at her locked home. Then she looked at his dark eyes. "Get in the car," Peter commanded. "It's time to show them your cost." The heavy door clicked open. She stepped away from the past. The leather seat felt like a trap. The car moved without a sound. They drove away from the bright lights. "You're an asset now," Peter whispered. "And I don't lose what I pay for." The black SUV glided into a hidden garage. Steel doors hissed shut behind them. They were deep inside the Moon Observatory. It was a tower made of black glass. Peter Moon led her into a cold room. The walls were covered in glowing screens. There were no guns or wooden desks. There were only servers and steady lights. But older systems still remained. Analog backups Peter never bothered to remove. "Sit down, Mary Jo," Peter ordered. He pointed to a chair made of steel. The room felt like a giant brain. Data moved across the walls like water. Mary Jo watched the numbers flicker by. She saw the city's heart in the code. Peter tapped a button on his glass desk. A new file opened in front of her. It was a spreadsheet titled Asset Ledger. The first name on the list was hers. Mary Jo leaned in to read it. Next to her name was a huge number. $50 million, she whispered. That was her price. The number felt like a heavy weight. "That is your value," Peter said. His voice was flat and perfectly calm. He showed her the debt breakdown. It listed every cent her father owed. She saw the Silas Group logo, the people who controlled half the city's debt. This isn't a mafia. This is a system, she realized. This is a global data corporation. Peter nodded slowly at the huge screen. Bullets are messy and very loud. But debt? Debt is a silent cage. He showed her a signed digital scan. Her father had used her private key. He sold her mind to save himself. Mary Jo felt a cold anger grow. She was his most expensive acquisition. "I am not a piece of software." She looked Peter directly in his dark eyes. "You are exactly that," Peter replied. And I never lose my investments. He pulled up a map of Vesper Bay. The Silas Group buildings glowed in red. They are trying to delete you. They want to hide the stolen money. Mary Jo looked at the complex patterns. She saw a mistake in their coding. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. For a second, nothing made sense. Then, the pattern snapped into place. Her fingers reached for the smooth keyboard. The numbers started to make perfect sense. I can freeze their cash flow. She didn't look back at the door. Then do it, Peter whispered. Show me why I bought you. The screen turned a bright, angry green. And just like that, their system started to bleed. Mary Jo watched the blue code move. Her fingers flew across the white keys. She saw a tiny digital signal. It was her mother's private bank account. The Silas Group was moving in. They were draining her mother's life savings. Mary Jo felt a sharp sting. She forgot Peter Moon's strict warning. I have to save her, she whispered. She tapped a quick command. She sent a shield of data. She used Peter's secret gold reserves. For a second, the theft stopped. The numbers stayed perfectly still. Then, a red alert flashed. The screen turned a bright crimson. It was a hidden trap, she gasped. The Silas Group hit back. They didn't want the mother's money. They wanted Peter's private access. Mary Jo watched the numbers drop. $10 million vanished instantly. Then 20 million simply disappeared. A cold shadow fell over her. Peter Moon stood behind her chair. He didn't scream or even move. He just watched the empty ledger. You chose empathy over logic, he said. His voice was like a dead winter. Mary Jo's hands began to shake. I was trying to help her. She is my mother, Peter. Peter leaned down to the main screen. He locked her access code immediately. In this city, feelings are bugs. The Silas Group just debugged you. He showed her the tracking map. A red dot was circling them. You gave them our exact location. They are smarter than you think. Mary Jo looked at the lost capital. She had cost Peter a fortune. She saw the logic gap now. Her family was the perfect bait. I made a huge mistake, she admitted. Her voice was low and heavy. Peter didn't offer her any comfort. Mistakes in Vesper Bay cost lives. They are coming for your mother now. And I will not stop them. Mary Jo felt a new coldness. She had to fix the math. She had to become the machine. The red dot moved closer still. Peter pointed to the dark exit. Learn the lesson or leave now. Mary Jo didn't move an inch. She grabbed the backup drive. I won't fail you again. The high-tension alarms began to scream. The digital war was getting personal. The Silas Group was waiting for her. The Moon Observatory was very quiet. The digital war was paused for now. Mary Jo sat at a large table. 6 giant men stood before her. They were Peter's top tactical team. They looked like dangerous mountain lions. Their leader was a man named Goliath. He was a legendary hitman in Vespera. He had a deep scar on his cheek. He carried himself with heavy power. But Mary Jo did not look afraid. She held a thick stack of papers. Sit down, everyone, she commanded. Her voice was sharp and clear. Goliath blinked his large eyes. He looked at Peter Moon for help. Peter was leaning against the back wall. He just sipped his black tea. Do what she says, Peter whispered. She is the new boss here. The 6 men sat down slowly. The chairs groaned under their huge weight. Mary Jo threw a receipt on the table. It was from a local burger shop. Who bought this? She asked loudly. She pointed to a small red circle. Goliath cleared his scratchy throat. That was my lunch, Mary Jo. You overcharged the syndicate by $40. She slammed her hand on the wood. $40? Goliath asked in shock. I am $1 million asset. You are a bad accountant, Goliath. And bad math gets people caught. She stood up and walked behind him. The room felt very small now. You used your personal credit card. The metadata shows your exact location. The Silas group saw you eat. They saw you order extra pickles. The other men tried not to laugh. Goliath's face turned a bright red. You will all attend a seminar. It starts at 6 in the morning. The topic is digital privacy and basic high school math. Goliath looked like he wanted to cry. He would rather fight a whole army. I don't like seminars, he grumbled. I like action, Mary Jo. Action makes you visible and dead. Spreadsheets make you invisible and rich. She handed them new digital tablets. Every dollar must be perfectly tracked. No more burgers on the company card. No more sloppy digital footprints. Peter Moon watched from the shadows. A small smile touched his lips. He had never seen Goliath so small. The mountain lion was now a house cat. Mary Jo was cleaning the syndicate. She was turning them into a ghost. Now, get out of my sight. Go study your privacy settings. The giant men scrambled for the exit. They ran like frightened schoolboys. Mary Jo turned back to her screen. The humor faded from her face. She saw a new red flicker. The Silas CEO was finally moving. The night was cold and dark. Despera Bay glowed with blue neon. High above the city, a man sat. This was the Silas Group CEO. He was eating an expensive steak. He wore a suit made of silk. He felt like a god of data. He didn't see the shadows already moving around him. Across the city, Mary Jo watched him. She sat in her quiet room. Her fingers danced on the glowing keys. She found his private tax ID. Time to go dark, she whispered. She tapped the enter key hard. In the restaurant, the waiter arrived. He held a small silver tray. The CEO handed over a black card. It was made of heavy metal. The waiter swiped it 3 times. Each time, the machine beeped loudly. I am sorry, sir, the waiter said. Your card has been declined. The CEO laughed a mean laugh. That is impossible, he shouted. He tried his gold card next. That card was also rejected. Mary Jo watched his angry face. She saw it through the security camera. She was already dismantling his life, piece by piece. She flagged his accounts for emergency audit. His credit score crashed within seconds. It dropped from perfect to 0. All his bank accounts locked tight. She sent a legal alert next. It went to the Despera airport. His private jet was ready to fly. The engines were already getting warm. But Mary Jo sent an anonymous tip. She reported a fake safety risk. The airport guards blocked the runway. They put a yellow lock on the door. The CEO stood up in the restaurant. His face was red with fury. He tried to call his private lawyer. But his phone service was disconnected. You have no power now, Mary Jo said. She watched the screen flicker. She triggered a liquidity freeze across his accounts. His company stocks began to crash. The world thought he was broke. By morning, he would be nothing. Peter Moon walked into the dark room. He looked at the crashing graphs. You moved very fast, Peter said. He sounded almost surprised. He tried to erase me, Mary Jo said. I just finished the job. She felt the power of the logic. She didn't need a single gun. The CEO was now a digital ghost. He was a man with no money. He sat alone at his expensive table. He couldn't even pay for his water. Mary Jo closed the final file. The first strike was over. But the Silas Group was not alone. A new signal was waking up. The digital war was just starting. Someone was tracking Mary Jo back. Mary Jo sat in the dim light. The moon observatory felt very cold. A small notification blinked orange. It was a private email. The sender was her own mother. "Please help me, Mary," it read. "They are taking the family house. I have nowhere to go tonight." Mary Jo felt a heavy ache. Her heart wanted to believe it. She reached for the access key. She wanted to send her mother money. "Stop right there," a voice said. Peter Moon stepped into the blue light. He didn't look angry at all. He looked like a bored teacher. "That is a classic bait, Mary. It is a fake plea." Mary Jo looked at the sad words. "But it reads just like her." "Of course it does," Peter said. "They have her voice recordings." He pulled up a hidden file. It was a 10-year-old ledger. Mary Jo began to read it. Her eyes grew very wide. It was a list of sales. The seller was her own father. For 10 years, he sold secrets. He sold her pattern recognition tricks. He told the Silas Group everything. He told them how she thinks. He sold his daughter's brilliant mind. He did it for easy money. Mary Jo felt a sick feeling. She wasn't just a recent frame-up. She was a long-term product. Her father had traded her away. "He used me," she whispered softly. "He used me for a decade." Peter nodded and crossed his arms. "You were his best asset, Mary. But the Silas Group wants more. They want to download your brain." The email was a digital hook. If she replied, they would win. They would find her new server. They would track her every move. "I have to reply," Mary Jo said. Her voice was suddenly sharp. Peter's eyes turned very dark. "I just told you it's a trap." "I know it's a trap, Peter. But I am the one with the bait." She typed a fast response. She sent a corrupted data file. She walked right into their trap. But she brought a digital bomb. "You are being very reckless," Peter said. He watched her fingers move. "No, I am being very loud. I want them to see me." She wanted her father to watch. She wanted him to be afraid. The blood variable was now active. Family was no longer a weakness. It was a way to find them. The screen began to glow red. The Silas Group was biting the hook. Mary Jo waited for the first click. The next night, the Vesper Grand Ballroom was gold. Crystal lights hung from the high ceiling. The city's richest people were all there. They wore silk and expensive diamonds. In the corner, Mary's family waited. Her father looked very nervous. His smile was gone. His hands stayed locked at his sides. His business was dying slowly. His friends didn't look at him. They treated him like a ghost. Then, the giant oak doors opened. A sudden hush fell over them. Mary Jo walked into the bright room. She wore a gown of midnight blue. She didn't look like a scared girl. She looked like a powerful queen. Beside her stood the great Peter Moon. He held her hand very firmly. "Who is that woman?" someone whispered. The crowd began to part away. Mary Jo didn't say a single word. She just walked with steady grace. She spotted her father in the back. His face turned a pale gray. Her brother Simon dropped his glass. The sound of breaking crystal echoed. The mayor of Vespera stepped forward. He ignored Mary's father completely. He bowed low to Peter Moon. "It is an honor, sir," he said. Peter pointed to Mary Jo. "Meet my chief strategist," he said. "She runs my entire empire now." The room was completely silent. Mary Jo met her father's gaze. She saw fear and sudden respect. Her father tried to step closer. He wanted to beg for help. But Peter's guards blocked his way. They were the mountain lions from before. Goliath looked at the old man. He didn't need a single weapon. He just stood like a brick wall. Mary Jo kept walking past them. She didn't look back even once. She was the center of gravity. Important people wanted to talk to her. They wanted her brilliant advice. They offered her millions of dollars. They wanted to be her new friends. Mary Jo just smiled coldly. She knew the math of power. Her family was now totally invisible. They were the ones who didn't exist. She had won the social war. She didn't need to shout or cry. She just had to show up. The power shift was now complete. Peter leaned into her ear. "Do you like the view from here?" "It's a very clean equation," she said. Her voice was smooth and sharp. She saw her father leave the room. He was a man with no future. The Vesper Gala was her coronation. But the real fight was still coming. The Silas group was watching the cameras. They saw her every move. By morning, the air was sharp and cold. The moon observatory felt like a cage. Mary Jo walked to her private desk. She reached for her silver keyboard. She tried to log into the system. The screen flashed a bright red box. "Access denied," the computer spoke. The voice was flat and robotic. Mary Jo felt a chill in her chest. She tried her backdoor password. The screen showed a flickering graph. It was a probability of betrayal chart. Her name was at the very top. The number was 4.2%. It was a small but dangerous number. In Peter's world, it was a death sentence. "You were early today, Mary Jo." Peter Moon stood by the large window. He didn't look angry or upset. He looked like a cold machine. "Why is my access locked, Peter?" She stood her ground very firmly. Peter tapped his thin glass tablet. "The data says you are changing. Your heart rate spikes near your family. Your logic is becoming emotional." Mary Jo let out a short breath. "I am trying to finish the job." "You are trying to seek revenge," Peter said. "And revenge is a bad investment." He walked over to her locked desk. "You are a volatile asset now. I am putting you on safety hold. You will stay in this locked room." Mary Jo looked at the security cameras. They were all pointing at her. Peter walked out and locked the door. The heavy steel clicked into place. She was now a prisoner of data. She watched the cameras for a moment. The feed stuttered, just for a second. She pulled a thin cable from her shoe. She didn't need a full system. Just a direct connection. She found the internal service port and plugged the cable in. "You want to play a game, Peter?" she whispered into the dark room. She began to hack her own boss. She bypassed his biometric locks. She saw his secret bank accounts. She saw the Moon Syndicate's heart. She found a hidden archive buried deep in the system. Peter had already collected everything. Her father's recorded confession was stored there. Peter was also stealing from the Silas group. He was using Mary Jo as a shield. She realized the bitter truth now. He wasn't her partner or friend. He was just a different kind of thief. She felt a new spark of fire. She began to rewrite the code. She changed the betrayal probability. She made herself appear invisible. She was the ghost in his machine. The hostile takeover had just started. She was taking back her own mind. Peter watched his monitor in the hall. The graph showed 0% now. He thought he had broken her. The system showed everything was stable. He didn't see the hidden change. The virus was already growing. Mary Jo was finally free. She was ready for the final strike. The lock on the door clicked open. She stepped out without a sound. The sky over Vesper Bay died, just as she stepped into the hallway. Every blue neon light blinked out. The Silas group pulled the master plug. They initiated a total city blackout. Smart cars stopped in the middle of roads. Digital locks froze on every door. The city was blind and silent. The digital gods had won the war. Inside the Dark Moon Observatory, Mary Jo smiled. She didn't need their high-tech servers. She had a heavy iron key. She walked to a hidden service elevator. It worked on simple manual gears. She rode it to the very top floor. Peter Moon stood in the dark hallway. He held a dim flashlight in his hand. "The system is dead, Mary Jo." His voice was full of defeat. "They have deleted the entire city network. We have no way to reach the people." Mary Jo looked at the black skyline. She pointed to an old rusted tower. It sat on a nearby hill. It was an old analog radio station. "They deleted the internet, Peter. But they forgot about radio waves." She grabbed her heavy laptop bag. She ran toward the emergency stairs. The stairs were steep and narrow. Her lungs burned with every step. She reached the old radio shack. It smelled like dust and copper. She found the massive power switch. She threw it with all her strength. The old vacuum tubes began to glow. A low hum filled the room. "I have the confession file," she said. She plugged in a small cassette tape. It was her father's secret voice recording. He admitted to every single crime. He told the world about the Silas Group. He explained the $50 million theft. Mary Jo grabbed the old silver microphone. She felt the power in her hands. "Vesper, can you hear me?" Her voice boomed across the dark city. Every old car radio began to scream. Every battery-powered speaker woke up. She wasn't using fancy fiber cables. She was using the very air itself. The Silas Group tried to block her. But they couldn't hack analog wires. Her father's voice echoed through streets. His lies were finally laid bare. People stood on their dark balconies. They listened to the truth in the dark. Peter Moon watched from the lower roof. He saw the city waking up. The siege of data was failing fast. The Silas Group was losing their grip. Mary Jo watched the signal meters jump. She was broadcasting the death of an empire. "The math is finally right," she whispered. The truth was spreading like fire. The blackout was no longer a cage. It was a giant stage for justice. The red lights on the tower flashed. The climax had reached its peak. The sun rose over Vesper Bay. The city lights flickered back on. But the world was completely different. The Silas Group was totally bankrupt. Their stocks had fallen to zero. The police were at their doors. Mary Jo sat at a small cafe. She sipped a hot black coffee. She watched the digital news feed. Her father's face was everywhere now. He was being led away. He had lost his entire fortune. His big estate was for sale. The price was almost nothing. Because of the massive scandal, nobody wanted to touch it. Mary Jo tapped her tablet screen. She made a single wire transfer. She bought her old home. She paid with Peter's own money. She acquired controlling shares of the local bank. The one that froze her account. She was the system now. She owned the entire neighborhood. She walked back to the observatory. Peter Moon was waiting for her. He sat in his leather chair. He looked tired and very old. "You used my own system against me," Peter said quietly. "You drained my reserve accounts, Mary." He didn't sound angry at all. He sounded like a defeated general. "You took everything I had." Mary Jo stood before him. She didn't look like his asset. She was his mathematical equal. "I didn't take everything, Peter. I took the exact amount. The price of my freedom." She handed him a digital receipt. The balance was perfectly zero. "You tried to own a person. But people are not variables." Peter looked at the glowing screen. "I taught you too well." "No, you taught me to win. And I always follow the data." She turned toward the large window. The city was moving again. The people were buying and selling. But the patterns had changed. Mary Jo was no longer erased. She was the one writing code. She picked up her small laptop. She walked toward the heavy door. "Where will you go now?" Peter's voice was very quiet. "I'm going to my house. The one I just bought." She stopped at the exit sign. She looked back one last time. Her eyes were sharp and bright. She felt the weight of sovereignty. "The math is finally done, Peter. And I don't owe you a thing." She stepped out into the light. The heavy door closed forever. The equation was officially closed. The ghost was finally home.